Does that do anything? How about now? Son of a bitch. Oh, well, thank you. Really, look, if I do OBS, it's magic computers. Unfortunately, apparently, I have sound problem. Sound problem. Well, let's see what if we. Hmm. 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 Yeah, would try this. That would be they couldn't see or hear anything. Anything. Wow, wow. I was talking for that whole part. I don't think you heard any of it, but and I don't think you saw it either. Fan. Oh, see now I was. This is the butter my biscuit part. So I'll deliver on that as a thumbnail real fast. Um, this is what I do for like 16 hours a day now because if I do anything else, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know if I leave, if I get off of this computer. Uh, I'm in a house full of dead lady stuff. I mean, like all her she moved her whole life here, and pretty much, and I'm supposed to be putting up the clothes and whatnot. So that this is what I do now. This is what my life has become. Like that. That's butter my biscuit. There's that, and now we'll just pretend that this never happened. Hey, yes, exit that, and then I'll exit this, and then we'll do what passes for a live stream in just a moment. Just a moment. Oh, oh yeah, there's that. Wow. Well, you know, um, this is this is you can't normally tell things are live. Stop it! What are you doing? I'm just trying to close the game now. Just oh, just, here, here, here. Now have we broken things? Who knows? Who knows what you poor people have been putting up with? I don't know what you saw. I don't know what's going on. Oh wow, that was the end of that. Ay ay ay. Ah. Okay, so just just pretend I delivered on the butter my biscuit part of the stream, and it's just that I do nothing but play StarCraft anymore, and I don't seem to be able to stop myself. You see, the stream is called Without Mirror because for the last year I've had somebody to say, you're just sitting there on the video games for 18 hours a day, do something else, and other ways of demanding and enforcing me to do other things. And now that I'm actually alone again, there's I don't have that, and things are I've deteriorated. Things have deteriorated.
Oh, welcome. I hope you're feeling virtually not alone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know if anybody's even listening. Like these voices in the background makes them feel virtually not alone. General Griswold Gaius Grim of the First Blood Regression Protocol and a member of the Fraternal Regiment embodying narcissistic sociopathy. On behalf of the Sacred Order of Foolish Transparency, hello! I see as with the film. We have some all-stars in the hive mind today. Hive mind today. Hive mind today. Hive mind today. Hive mind today.
Okay, welcome. Here, let's do it. Let's do the savings throws part. People have been waiting for them, and they might never. You know, you're swimming in mind control. Everyone is trying to influence you this way or that way, even if it's just the advertisements you see constantly as you drive down the highway, beautified by the billboards. So here, +2 to the billboard advertisement mind control, +4 if you did the corn and the muting, +2 if you just told me. You know how it works. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. You roll. You choose. I roll. If it's over 10, you take half damage. Under 10, you take full damage. And I really want what's best for you. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Ooh, they paired up again. Survivalists with an 11. Socialists coming in with a 9. A 9. We have disciples for the lovers of wisdom and pairing up with survival. Heart with the number of transformation. Indigo kids, you got the Trinity today. You got the Trinity. All three of them. Welcome, everybody. It's gonna be a show. I don't know if it's gonna be a good show, but it's gonna be a show. Okay, I can do this without cannabis. I know I can because, like, that whole time at UPS, I would still occasionally stream, and people seem to enjoy them the same. There is the what do you call it? Issue that, like, when you come off of something, it what it does is invert it to make you go back on it, and so it's really difficult for the next 3 weeks of my life, maybe. And but since the card to let me buy medicine got cut up in a fight prior to my aloneness again. Because like, if you can smoke, then I can drink, and I was like, nah. So I cut up the card, and now, well, not all the cards. I didn't cut up all the cards. The blue church card of the show is the 10 of clubs. We can do this. We can do this. Yeah, but yeah. So just consider the title and the thumbnail delivered on. Would you? Would you? It's not. In case you haven't heard, our good friend who we've never met, Alex O'Connor, got his Jordan Peterson conversation, and I didn't make it through the whole thing, but I did get to the part where Peterson gets nailed to the cross almost. Maybe. We'll run that clip for you right after the casino deck card for the show. Queen of Hearts jumped out for us. Here's the part of the Peterson conversation with Alex O'Connor's Cosmic Skeptic, and Vervaeke was the one that gets credited for this conversation happening. Here's where he basically nails him.
Why anybody would bother with
it. So a man exists called Jesus. We have that much.
Now, Christ, there's a claim that is attributed to Christ that he is the embodiment or the incarnation, the fulfillment, let's say, of the prophet and the laws.
Yes.
I think that's true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What does that mean? Well, I think it's in the Gospel of John. I think Gospel of John closes with a statement that's something like, if all the books that were ever written were written about the gospel accounts, that wouldn't be enough books to explain what had happened.
Yeah, if all the things that Jesus did.
Yeah. And it's there's a truth in that. The truth is that profound religious account is bottomless. Mm-hmm. And the biblical representations are like that. There's no limit to the amount of investigation they can bear, not least because the text itself is deeply cross-referenced. So there's an innumerable number of paths through it. It's like a chessboard. And so it's inexhaustible in its interpretive space.
That's true.
And that's a problem too, because it means it's also susceptible to multiple interpretations, including...
No, Weeks, they're in Los Angeles. It's a Chinese palace.
Potentially competing interpretations.
I think a lot of people interpret Paul, for example, the earliest New Testament source, as saying that if Jesus did not literally rise from the dead, if there was not a man who stopped breathing and then started breathing again, then your faith is futile and you're still in your sins. That is, Christianity is undermined. Now, that means that, and Paul doesn't say sort of believing that that's false is really bad. He says, if you do not believe this proactively, then your faith is futile.
The problem I have with that.
If you don't proactively believe that yourself, then I think when a Christian asks you, do you believe in the resurrection of Jesus? Are you a Christian? I think you must be committed to saying no, at least under that interpretation of Paul. And even if you're not sure, I mean, it's fine if I say to you, do you think that a man physically rose from the dead? And you say something like, well, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, but I think it has a lot of mythological significance, or I think that maybe it happened in a different sense, or it happened in the sense that good fiction happens, then fine. But it needs to begin with that caveat of the simple sort of, historically speaking, I don't know. And I know you don't like to pull out the historical Jesus and the mythological.
That's a good objection.
But it's an important question to ask.
No, of course, it's a very good objection. So I just did a seminar on the Gospels with a crew of about 8 people, and it was the same crew that walked through Exodus with me with a couple of variations. And we spent a lot of time on the resurrection accounts, for example. And of course, that was the toughest, morsel to chew and digest. The thing about the resurrection accounts is that they're all, so I could say something like this, which will just annoy people, but it doesn't matter. I believe the accounts, but I have no idea what they mean.
When you say you believe the accounts, do you mean, and I hate to be sort of pedantic here, it seems pedantic, but do you mean you believe that these are things that happened such that that's a strange
I
know you don't
state.
like that. Let me put it this way. If I went back in time with a Panasonic video camera and put that camera in front of the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, would the little LCD screen show a man walk out of that tomb?
I would suspect yes.
So that to me seems like a belief in the historical event of the resurrection, or at least of Jesus leaving the tomb, which means that when somebody says, do you believe that Jesus rose from the dead? It doesn't seem clear to me why you're not able to just say, it would seem to me yes.
Because I have no idea what that means. And neither did the people who saw it.
Have you ever browsed?
Yeah, see, you can find the good parts of the show by finding where they put the commercials. And that's probably the best stuff. Penny wants in. She's a cat. She's a cat. Your browser has lost connection to sharing tab to screen audio. Stop the screen and present again, maybe? What a day, what a day. This is from a top secret members only video where the thumbnail makes it look like he's talking to Jonathan Pageau again, but really it's just an old clip. But it raises the point. It raises the point. I noticed the other day that Paul scooped me on the IFS article Kale was sharing around. And that made me go to NightCafe and put shadow people with lime green eyes. And it turns out if you go to NightCafe and you use shadow people, it basically draws drow elves, which is nice. But here's some more demon poo-pooing from our friends.
That's why for me it's almost like a mystery when I listen to people. I always think it's just because you don't understand what is consciousness. You don't understand what constitutes a being, how a being is not obvious in terms of scientific analysis, that there really has to be something which pulls it together. And so to me, the once we start to see that, then angels, the idea of angels they're not a big deal anymore. Like they're as and the idea of demons too. I mean, to me, demons are just principalities which are not united in this coherent hierarchy, and that's how the church fathers present them, anyways. So you have some usually it's aligned with a passion and makes sense because that's what it happens in us. You have a person, you have a pattern inside you, and this pattern kind of runs, and it has its own coherence. But what it does, it's pulling you away from your central core. So it's making you resent something. It's making you hate your children. It's making you like whatever pattern that is there. And you're fighting against it. You're trying to bring it in, and sometimes you can't, and it kind of pulls you. To me, that's just it's a demon. It's a little demon that is pulling you. And if you read like the mystics, they talk about demons, that you're full of demons, or that their demons are constantly, either they say you're full of demons, or they'll say things like they're demons riding on you, like you have demons riding on your back, like all these demons that are riding on you. And I think it's just an imagistic way.
Whoa, sorry.
Are constantly, either they say you're full of demons, or they'll say things like they're demons riding on you. Like you have demons riding on your back, like all these demons that are riding on you. And I think it's just an imagistic way of saying that you have these patterns which are pulling you into death, that are ripping you apart, that are decomposing you. And so you need to bring it together. And so there are.
If they're just patterns, why the hell aren't you Christians casting them out in the name of Jesus? That's my real problem. That's my real problem. They're not just patterns. They're demons that feed on negative emotions. It's agency deck card of the show is the Jack of Clubs. It's funny because back when I was really young, probably 20s, when I first did my Pentecostal thing and would actually go down to the altar call before the baptism happened and I wasn't filled with the Holy Spirit. Like they would all circle around and pray for me or whatever. And like one of the old ladies at the church said, like, there's this dark cloud all around you. Meanwhile, Pajot is releasing fascinating things such as skateboarding is cool. Premiered just before this started, actually.
Is not just rule in the passive sense of the king kind of sitting, but when you stand on the chariot, it means you're in an active pose and you're therefore mastering actively the materiality underneath you. But ultimately, the reason for it to be standing in a chariot is usually to fight. And so you're also mastering the enemy in that sense. Think of, for example, a good example is, of course, the chariot race, which was very popular in Rome. And of course, as Roman gladiatorial combat ceased to be a thing, in the Roman Empire, the Christian Roman Empire, the chariot racing became the main vehicle for sport, which is the main sport that people would watch would be chariot racing, because it had all of that symbolism, included together, plus, of course, the spirit of competition, the race. And so all of this together, the man standing in his chariot, also going to vanquish his enemy, master the potential, and also and show his excellence. That's also part of it. And so
and he did that. I'm not going to bring it up, but Joe went skateboarding, and he released a video of it on the Twitter. And other exciting news. It turns out that you can now purchase your tickets to what should have been called Pacific Northwestuary, but what is actually called Estuary Northwest 2024, from September 12th to 14th in Washington, Olympia, Washington, hosted by the Grail Country. And great news is, if I can make it, well, we're gonna do birthday D&D for extra money. but the tickets as they are, there's a barbecue you can buy extra to. The tickets are $200. $200 to come see people talk. Which people, you might ask? It turns out that Dr. Michael Martin, Paul Vanderklay, Dr. Chris Green, and Karen Wong will be the featured speakers of Pacific Northwest Estuary 2024, and that's going to be fun and exciting. The website is this. I'm going to paste it in the link there. Kale's going to be there. I'm going to try and be there. There's unfortunately like 5 animals. I don't know. But don't worry, because there's all right. So as you know, after what happened, I did this. Well, if you want to do something, and then people moved for it, and we've decided that we can use oxidizing machines to remediate, they call it, the fact that I smoked in this house, in case, I guess, the new buyers are allergic. I don't know. We're not going to be replacing the HVAC. And the only thing I have to figure out is how to get all of my stuff out of it. out of the house for when the work happens. Where that's going to be, how me and the animals are going to have a place to stay, and then and then hope that the house sells, because if it doesn't, I don't know how I'm supposed to get back any of the materials, which we think materially we can get it around $5K. We like just for the floor and the drywall and the paint and all that. And so, and it's like, guy, I make maybe $200 a month from streaming, and the rest is I'm leaning on family to pay the bills, because I'm apparently a mentally ill man that can't take care of himself. And I stream on the internet and beg for money, and it comes in sometimes, but it's like I had a dentist appointment yesterday. They charged $315 for each tooth, and like $2,000 for a pair of dentures, and they don't really fit well and you have to get them done a year again later, or go without teeth entirely for 6 months. And that's fun. And I don't know where any of that's going to come from. And so it's like the help is there and the will is there, but and can I get a job? I tell myself I can stop streaming and just get a crap job and make more money, but can I really get a crap job? Who would hire me, and for what would they hire me? And so as I'm crashing and burning, just the weight of it all, I get really mad at her for dying, because like I want to and she didn't, and so that's kind of bogus. Wait a minute, just stop, just play some branding and shut up. Okay. What? That was an emoji, I guess. Thanks, guys, for this. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. Remember, there is no agency. We want what's best. And it's not even like you guys need me anymore. There's Luke country streams and Chad country streams every morning now, plus Pastor Paul's homeroom. You got plenty of things to watch. You don't. But speaking of those things, here's this from this morning's Chad.
But Chad, what you've been talking about kind of reminded me of a certain part of my Christian journey where I found it very difficult to believe that anything easy was good, basically, and that only that the devil made things easy and God made things hard so that he could, for whatever reason, I thought that. But it occurred to me listening to you that there's also the element of sobriety going on here, where I think you have lots of experience with feeling yourself get taken for a ride. And whether that be because of spiritual malady or because of a scene or for whatever reason, and I think that's something we probably have in common, is that kind of feeling of to the edge, to the edge, to the edge. And at every step we knew we could have turned back, but we didn't because we just loved it so much. And then we get taken for a ride, we get thrown off the ledge. And I think it is very interesting for two reasons. One is because I do think that that's a very real thing that people should think about, especially in TLC, because this is kind of, I don't think it's as big of a difference as like real life sex is to porn, but there's something similar going on, right? Like this is almost like a super stimulus of friendship, because all of you guys know all the things I like talking about, and you can't kick me out because I can still watch the videos if you kick me out. I just can't talk. Like I can, if you kick me out of TLC, I'll just start a burner channel and keep watching, you know? And so like, that's so different than like, for instance, when I got excommunicated from the church because I couldn't go back. Everybody knew my face, you know, I couldn't, everybody knew my dad's face. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Does that resonate at all? Do you think that there's something there about that, like, especially that metaphor of like, okay, this is a good thing. It feels good. It's easy. I want to be taken for a ride. Like I want to just lay back. Hey puppy. And basically let the crowd carry me versus thinking hard, like long and deep about, okay, is this actually good for me? Is this what the Lord would have me do? Especially if it's the first thing that pops into my head when I wake up, you know?
Yeah.
Good questions. Good questions. Yes, I do walk kayfabe. He started this fun thing when we get back to the house. He doesn't want to go in, and I have to physically pick up a Great Pyrenees and drag him into this hellish existence because he doesn't want to go back inside. Okay, you guys can attack the darkness. It's swallowing me right now. And this one.